I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States
of America
and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty
and justice
for all.
Hey, this is News Rocky coming to you live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. from 80 Broadway, downtown Norwich at the Pie Hop Studio. News Rocky. Hey guys, I just got out of rehab, political rehab, taking on fake news, and we know there's plenty of that out there. So tune in each and every day, get your full complement of all the fake news. We'll drill down on it harder than a pile driver on the WWE wrestling. Hey guys, this is Kevin coming to you live here, as said in that intro, from the Pie Hop Studio. Kevin and the News Rocky Show, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. We're bringing a live content to you every day, talking about all the news of the day and the fake news of the day. And as we are wrapping up 2020, I had no choice but to bring back, by popular demand, one of the most sought after guests of 2020, Lori Hopkins Cavanagh. Welcome back to the studio. How are you?
Thank you.
Yeah,
well,
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you as well. And, it's great to have you in the studio right now. It's great to have you back here. And, I know we talk about a lot of different topics. And in fact, the last time you and I covered, I think, every topic from the beginning of time until present. But today we'll focus in on 2020. We'll do a little review of the 2020. We'll talk a little bit about sort of how the world has changed. We'll also talk a little bit about some other topics, current topics of the day, like the state, the senators down in Washington, D.C. Actually, I guess, going to be making the big decision. I haven't heard the updated yet. I think there's a lot of debate going on. This is really referencing to the $2,000 stimulus check that President Trump threw back in the laps of the Senate and Congress. We'll get into that. But what have you been up to since you were on the show, Lori?
Looking for a German Shepherd puppy. That's
okay.
One of the things.
So you've been shopping?
Painting my house.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You had a great Christmas?
Cleaning.
Did you have a good Christmas?
I had a great.
Well, you know what? The fact that I know when you were here, you said you're going to have a house full of people. Everyone was going to be kissing and slopping spit. And it was not a Corona safe zone, in your opinion, but it was a safe zone for your family. So I hope you enjoyed that holiday. What's this with the shepherd? Did you actually pick up a shepherd yet, or what are you doing?
I have a shepherd puppy that's going to join our family in the middle of January.
Amazing. Cool. And so
you have a shepherd also?
I do. I have a shepherd named Deal. His name is Deal, Deal. Ah. And kind of quick story how I got that is, and you're a real estate professional, right?
Yes.
So a friend of mine, exactly, a broker, and you've been doing it a long time. A friend of mine owns a lot of property in Florida, and he was in the process of selling some property back in 2019, the summer 2019. And I was sitting with him out having a beer, and next thing you know, he says, "Oh, these guys want to give me a dog and $20,000 and make a deal." And I said, "Well, I want a dog." He goes, "Deal." The dog Deal got flown up from Florida. We got him in a bag this big. He's a little head poking out, and now he's about 110 pounds of fun. Probably about 110 pounds of activity. Yeah, fun. I wish you a lot of luck with that.
Well, that's something I'm concerned about. I'm seriously concerned about. You need to come over to my house, and we need to have play dates.
Oh yeah, honey, definitely. You know what?
I want to set up an obstacle course in the backyard. Yeah.
Are you going to teach the dog how to attack liberals?
I need to teach the dog how to be a stability dog.
Okay, so it's going to be a dog that's
it's going to be a work dog,
and he's going. So I actually had my dog on my farm with me, Lori. When I first brought him, he grew up on a hemp farm. So he is, when he smells the smell of hemp or any products like that, he is in heaven. Loves it.
He feels like home.
It feels like home. He wants to roll around in weed. So that's his stability.
I'm afraid of this dog. I have to say that I am. I'm going to. I appreciate that it's going to be large. Right now, I have a cockapoo.
Oh, cockapoo.
My cockapoo is about.
Is that a lap dog?
No, it's 30 pounds.
So it's like a mid-size.
It's a miniature poodle and a cocker spaniel mix.
Okay, no, and the hair is like human hair.
They have human hair. Yeah, they don't shed.
Right.
That is a lot of work.
Yeah, I bet. So
this one's going to shed. So I'm already giving it. I have a shedding room.
I feel like we're on The
call
View.
it a shedding
I feel like we're on
room.
The View right now. We can't even get put in this conversation, and we're supposed to be talking about this, and we're in the what kind
A
of
shedding
shampoo?
room.
What kind of shampoo do you use? Yeah, we're talking about everything but the politics of the day. But it's all good. Listen,
That's funny.
I think that animals are one of the best outlets for humans. I think you get to escape from all the nonsense, and kind of leading into the nonsense, as we talked about in the intro, 2020, 2020 was the most intense year, I think, of most people that I know alive today.
Yeah.
I know the Vietnam War, the first, in history, there's been some current events that have taken place. This COVID, the lockdown, the divide of the country with the racial issues, this unbelievable divide of politics has been, it's been played out to be crazy. I'm sure, does any of your personal experiences, just kind of before we get into the national stuff, what happened to you this year that was like a big impact and it was craziest thing that ever happened in 2020? If you want to share with the audience, and they want to know. This audience loves
I mean,
Lori.
I have a lot of personal things that have happened, and I have a lot of irons in the fire.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this year, being locked down
Yep.
psychologically
Mhm.
has driven me absolutely
I'm going to take your water on the
insane.
way. Take that water. No,
Has-
that bottle.
Oh,
Move
I'm
that, because
sorry.
it's
yeah.
irritating the crap out of me. Move it over that way. There you go. I don't want to see
Out.
it. No, they have it right behind your cup right there. You're perfect. No,
Okay.
right there. There you go. Go ahead.
All right.
Sorry. I couldn't take it anymore. I know you were seeing the same thing. You're like, get that damn bottle.
I
out of
brought
there.
in, I brought in a nice stainless steel
Yes.
water.
You're
So-
classy. All right.
So yeah, so it's
So-
but I don't like plastics
so-
actually.
So,
we're gonna-
Lori, something happened to you, and we'll cover this quickly. I did say maybe put it off to the end, but let's give it 30 seconds to a minute. And there's not enough time to give a full clarity. But they came after you. You announced you were going to run against Kathy Austin for state senate, correct?
Yeah,
Here
I did in January of 2019, and I wasn't really working much. You know,
Right.
I was my
You're-
own company.
But you're a broker, you're a real estate broker in Connecticut.
Yeah, and I have my own properties.
Right. And you manage your
Yeah.
own properties.
I manage
And
those.
that you announce this, and then all of a sudden knock on the door from the state agencies that oversee your licensing, correct?
Well, no, it's a long story, but to make the long story short, I've had the state come after me. Now this is the second time. The
Mhm.
first time, I had one part-time employee.
Right.
One part-time employee, and then I got a call. I was in Old Line,
Mhm.
and I got a call saying, "Hi, this is the labor department from Weathersfield. I'm a field operations person
Mhm.
from Weathersfield, and I've heard your show, Lori on Liberty show,
Mhm.
and I understand you ran for Congress,
Mhm.
U.S. Congress against Joe Courtney." And I'm like, "Why are you mentioning my show, my political show,
Mhm.
and my political run for?" And you're the labor department.
Right,
Are
right.
you calling about my show,
Right.
or are you calling about my company?
Right.
And I had one part-time employee,
Yep.
Kara. She was with me for a very long time,
Okay.
and she's just and it costs a lot to have an employee.
Sure.
And it's almost prohibitive. You don't even want to have a business today because employees cost so much money.
Right.
And then to have the state be so totalitarian on top of that.
Do you trust the state?
Well, not now, no, at all. But I'm actually hiring an attorney.
You're going after the state of Connecticut.
I'm going to file a federal injunction.
Kathy Austin as well.
No.
Don't you think she was pushing it on you? I mean, you said that this
It
is
was
the,
an anonymous complaint.
but you said to me, and you said it publicly, and I'm asking you so we know.
Mm.
Do you think Kathy had anything to do with it?
She would have the power to do what they're doing to me, and they wouldn't be
Jesus, that
doing
was a
it.
smart response, dude. Right there, you're not even getting incriminated on that response. I love you. You did good there.
Well, it's the truth.
I know, but I'm just saying you worded it. You
You
must watch a
have
lot.
to have power.
You watch a lot of court dramas or something because you really know how to respond quickly. That's good.
No, I studied law a lot.
You did. Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm studying.
So you're gonna
law.
go after. You're gonna go
I
after.
usually
state.
go pro se. Like I said, I've been going pro se against the State Department of Consumer Protection for maybe a year now. No, since June. Okay. So I actually they're coming after me based on an anonymous complaint,
Mhm.
based on a lapsed.
Do you think it's based on your political your body of work, your show,
Yeah.
you're running for office.
Well, listen, the first time they came after me, I said, what are you doing? They said, I'll get back in touch with you. This Weathersfield labor.
Isn't that under a CHRO complaint? Could it be under a human rights complaint? Because isn't religion and your, political status, isn't all those considerations?
For me, the subject is very important. Okay. For me, it's a constitutional question. And that question is, do we have the natural born right? Do you have the natural born right to work?
Well, hope so.
You don't.
I
In the
don't.
state of Connecticut.
They
No.
say I can't.
They will take your license
So
away.
somebody in this.
The question is, why does everything, including, picking your roses in the garden?
Were you going to say nose?
I'm not
I
even
think you're
know
going to
what
say
I was going to say.
picking your noses in the
I
garden.
stopped. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Everyone
No,
needs
the
a
state
license.
does everything and it's
Okay.
wrong. But that's the point of consumer protection. And this is where this is going.
Yeah.
The State
'Cause we wanna
Department of
get into
Consumer
national stuff.
Protection is rogue.
Okay.
It's rogue. We need to do a show on it.
All right.
I'm
We will.
I'm lawyering up because
Okay.
I have no choice.
Hey, Norm Pattis, you watch the show all the time. I'll connect you with Lori. Norm, you and her could be, you know who Norm Pattis is? Norm is the most famed attorney in all of Connecticut. He's the guy with the ponytail and the glasses. He's the guy that represented Doulos and all these other people across the
I think
state.
I called him actually for something once.
Well,
Yeah, recently,
Norm and I
actually.
speak as often as he responds to me. But Norm, I know you watch the show. I will connect
Well,
you with
this
Lori.
is a civil rights.
All right. Well, let's go. Let's go on to this show because we get a show.
Injunctions are very important.
Junction. Know your function.
Injunction.
Know your function.
Go ahead. 2020.
All right. So let's getting back on the news, Rocky guys. We're bringing this show to you, part of the Helms Media Group. We're so happy to be here at the Pie Hop Studio. And again, in studio, we jumped right into it like a volcano full of just energy here. Lori said, I don't have the same, energy as last time, but here she is diving right in. You are a fighter. You're the women's version of the male news Rocky. There can be a woman news Rocky, by the way. That's true. There could be.
I'm Lori on Liberty.
I didn't say I was offering you Rocky
I'm
anyways.
Lori on Liberty. But I got to tell you a funny story.
Yeah, we're not even going to get to 20.
I have to tell you a funny story.
Go ahead.
When I used to tend bar, when I tended bar, I started when I was 18.
Yep.
18.
Yep.
Okay. Now
18.
it's 21, right?
Yeah.
Okay, 18 years old. And I was working at this restaurant in Groton on the water.
Okay.
And it was very beautiful. And it was like a Florida style restaurant.
Okay.
But I didn't drink. I was a good girl.
Yep.
And Zach, it just so happens to be, he was a pretty large restaurateur in in Connecticut.
Yep.
He had this great restaurant, but a lot was going on. And have you ever worked? You ran a restaurant.
I had my own little bar and restaurant.
Okay.
Little small foods.
Back in the day,
Yeah.
you'd go to the checking in and out. You
Cash register.
clock in, clock out.
Okay. Yeah.
No, pay, right?
Yep.
Right. And it'd be like this poster
Yep.
of nude women
Oh. Okay.
right over it.
Right.
There was no training in
Yeah.
that stuff, right?
Yeah.
It was scary to go into the kitchen.
Yeah.
In these big
It
restaurants.
wasn't good for young women.
It was scary, yeah.
Okay.
And I can give you a share. Well,
Mhm.
anyway.
Mhm.
So my nickname, guess what my nickname was at this Groton restaurant?
Hot lips.
Rocky.
Was it Rocky?
It was
Oh,
Rocky.
there it is.
I would walk into the restaurant
You were
kitchen,
Rocky before I was Rocky.
and they would say, "Hey, what do you hear? What do you say, Rocky?" Every single time.
You're amazing. You know what? I love
It's
talking to
true.
you. You're a comfortable conversation. And so we're going to continue it right here on News Rocky. What's up, Tan? See you saying hi. Guys, chime in up here. Make sure if you have any questions for Lori, anything goes on the show. We'll try to get to some questions as we did last time. We can ask anything from the social disconnect in our country, the political situation, local, state politics, social issues, your constitutional rights. That's a big part of what you do. 2020, Lori, was filled with so many amazing, and obviously, there's nothing topping COVID and the
The
social,
lockdown.
yeah, the lockdown, right? So
That's the number one story.
that's the number one story of the year. And so I ask you, in regards to this lockdown, the COVID-19 pandemic obviously came in, officially announced by the World Health Organization in January 9th of 2020. That's when the official announcement was. Let's see, to more than 20 million, let's see, the spread across the globe to more than 20 million people, resulting in at least 751,000 deaths. This is coming from a New York Post article that we've pulled up here, and we can actually post up, I think, on that Corona COVID pandemic, if you get that up there. But in regards to that, what do you think out of this entire pandemic that has obviously changed our world? What is the one worst thing that has happened? I mean, there's lots of bad, but the one thing you think is the most dangerous for humans and America?
Bill Gates, the World Economic Forum, and the
It's not one, Lori. It's like one.
well, this group of people, mostly corporations, communist globalist corporations,
That's not
have
fake.
taken
That's-
over.
That's not fake news. Because
Have
I see,
taken over
Lori.
our world. No, it's not fake
Lori,
news.
it's hard for
I
me to, and I'm a conservative Republican. I hear Bill Gates' involvement. I have read, I'm good friends as I am, developing this relationship with you, Gordon Vidal. And Gordon has his whole theory of the deep state. We talked to him last week, Pizzagate, all these things. You're going to tell me that there's some kind of global,
No, wait a second.
because we're just going to
Just
highlight
go to
today.
the website
gonna
and
come
I
back.
can show you the World Economic Forum sitting next to Bill Gates, sitting next to the Chinese CDC, sitting next to the American CDC,
Right.
with Johns Hopkins
can you look for it?
University.
What is it again, Lori? What do you want?
You have to go to Johns Hopkins University first,
Okay.
because otherwise you can't get into this website.
Oh, this is deep dark state stuff.
No,
Okay.
no, they have it in
All right.
your face.
All right.
Johns Hopkins University, Bloomberg School of Medicine, Center for Health Security,
Holy Jesus.
event201.org.
All right. You work on that. Anyway, so we'll see what we can do. Here's what we got.
Event201.org, but you got to be on the university, Johns Hopkins University website to get there.
All right. While he's doing that, you're telling me that the Bill Gates involvement, the global sort of interest here in this pandemic, this COVID, do you believe in your heart of hearts, and we're going to go over a lot of topics over 2020, do you believe in your heart of hearts that this was created and delivered purposely to the world for a purpose?
Yes.
What is the purpose first?
First of all, do I believe this? The term "this" is something we'd have to discuss further.
COVID-19, the disease that's been identified.
It's not a disease. It's actually a specific virus with a specific thumbprint that they have not isolated.
Mhm.
When they do the tests, they are testing for the common cold, the influenza virus of the seasonal influenza flu, and COVID-19.
Mhm.
It's a big net. They are not even testing for COVID-19.
Okay.
There's a lot of issues with the testing, so that has to be exposed.
But you do believe this is a real illness or
I know
virus
I know that we have a virus,
called corona?
and I believe that they just found out. I don't have the link. This is so important.
No worry, talk it through, and then we'll get
Yeah.
there.
Well, they just found out that it's not spread. People that are not asymptomatic people
mhm.
are not spreading the disease.
So
at all.
you're
That
saying-
there's no reason to be locked down at all. None. No.
We
no
should,
reason.
in your opinion. So let's kind of
None at all. This
okay.
is horrific.
You're telling me that you definitely know that this is from some sort of possibly
It could
this
be. It could be
lab was funded,
chemtrails.
but-
It could be chemtrails.
but this lab was funded by the Bill Gates organization and many other global interests. You also said that it is real, but it's being
shutting down our country
Right.
and shutting down the globe was orchestrated by the Bill Gates organization in conjunction with the Chinese CDC, the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum was losing their minds
Do you think that?
before the election.
Do you think
They
that,
didn't want to see Trump elected. These people are vicious, horrible,
so? This
terrible terrorists. And that's what happened to
do you
us.
think that has to do with Trump, though? I just want to summarize on COVID.
Absolutely, 100%.
100%. Okay, thank you for
But
that.
it wouldn't have mattered if it were Trump or somebody else,
Mhm.
anybody who resisted, because it's the new world order. It's the great reset.
Mhm.
You've heard that, right?
100%. 100%. So we'll carry on with Trump, right? And so in 2020, something interesting, the president faced an impeachment trial in January 2020, if you remember correctly, on charges that he asked Ukraine to investigate former Vice President Joe Biden and his son Hunter. He was ultimately acquitted by the Senate on February 5th. So this hearing that took place, Lori, do you think that there was enough evidence for Congress to call this impeachment hearing?
No.
I mean, the whole Russian gate that started in 2015, almost 16, when he had actually said he was going to run for office, meaning Donald Trump, the president of the United States today. They started this. They came right out and said they were going to investigate him for his collusion with Russia. Kind of leads into now where the actual ultimate goal by the Congress was to find and impeach him on this Ukraine issue with Joe Biden, who now is the president of the United States. I mean, could you make the story up in Hollywood any better?
Vice President Biden,
Former.
Vice President Biden, I am confident that Trump will actually prevail. It's going to be interesting if he doesn't. Is a criminal.
Wait,
Has
Joe Biden's a criminal?
Joe Biden is.
So you're saying
is
that's not
Joe
that's not fake.
Biden is wealthy beyond means, if you know what I mean. You can't pretend that you're this middle class guy from a coal town,
Yep.
and then
Pennsylvania.
have 5 or 6 mansions. You cannot fly your kids around to sleep around with. I mean,
Chinese people,
China.
hookers, Chinese hookers. Is that what you're saying?
Hunter has done very naughty things.
He's a bad boy.
He's a bad boy. Yeah.
I saw some photos of him. He's kind
But
of.
it's a lot of money exchanged hands. We're being sold to the Chinese. That makes me sick. I don't care who does it.
We're gonna get into that in a minute.
I don't care who does it.
I'm gonna reel you in back so we can get
Yeah.
off. You and I are bad when it comes to this because I'm
Mhm.
trying to stay in charge on
Okay,
the
you go
topics.
ahead.
So this impeachment hearing that took place, we watched this circus, right? We
Right.
watched it go through the process. What was your feelings during the impeachment hearings? Let's say from the variety. Pick any from the variety of characters. Chuck Schumer, right? Nancy Pelosi. We actually did a fun little thing yesterday with Nancy Pelosi. I don't know if you saw it, and Donald Trump kind of facing off on comments that they've said about each other. There's a little bit of humor in that, but the sad part about it is we've witnessed the destruction of our government, and that's okay with me, actually. I'm okay with that. But I'm saying our government serves us. And we've witnessed, I think, over the 4 years of Donald Trump, this is my sad takeaway, and from 2020 especially. People on one side want total and ultimate control, and they don't care at what cost. They've destroyed lives. People have been hurt, murdered, wiped out. They're ignoring Epstein for purposes of self-worth. And I think it all ties in why he was brought to trial with nothing to do with anything with Ukraine. It had everything to do with that. What do you think?
I believe that Trump has been just targeted by the Bush administration, by
A Republican administration, just for the record. So if anyone's listening to News Rocky, we're not talking Democrat and I think Lori and I find a very easy way to agree on this. There is a lot of corruption in Washington, D.C. I'm sorry, Lori, go ahead.
Well, if recent news, and this is what I was going to share with you, one of the Bush relatives, and I'm not sure which one, is involved with the Chinese Communist Party. And you take a look at our education system, for example, in Connecticut, and it is tied into the Chinese. And these are really important issues to be talking about, is the Chinese. And they want to deflect from that. So they're doing Russia, like Russia matters. Russia's going to spy. They're going to have their tech geeky guys that are going to listen and kind of crash systems and take over, grab data, whatever.
Right.
But that's behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We know that exists. It's always existed. It's always going to exist. We need to be smarter than them, and we can handle the Russians. The Chinese, our elected officials in the state of Connecticut, in Hartford, have sold us out with this Agenda 2030, New World Order reset, sustainable garbage,
Mhm.
have sold us out to the Chinese.
So with I mean, you're
But
staying
all
on.
the stuff about Russia
Yeah.
Gate, that's all
Why-
deflection from the real issues.
Why was that allowed? Why was that allowed to happen?
It's easy. It was easily done. And McCain, another Republican, was
Mhm.
involved in it.
Mhm.
And Jeb Bush and the Bush family is a deep state. And unfortunately, I would love to have the dinner that is held once a year in Connecticut renamed.
The Prescott
The Prescott Bush dinner. I would like to see that renamed in the state of Connecticut.
to what?
I don't know. I maybe let's what happened to the Constitution dinner? I don't know.
So this whole this scenario we watch with this trial of President Trump, political grandstanding. Do you think it's payback for what happened with Bill Clinton?
What do you mean payback? I don't
Well, I mean,
understand.
Clinton was the last president to be brought through hearings and trials. And,
Oh
and-
no,
and,
I
you know,
don't
I mean,
think so. I
you don't
think
think
that they
that's
hate Trump no matter what. If Trump was a Bush, they wouldn't have given him a hard time.
so interesting. So your point is
If it were
really
Jeb Bush, they'd say, "Oh, this is great."
look at the Bush family up there. Isn't that a beautiful little family?
Yeah.
Look at that family.
Yeah.
They're awful white, aren't they? Can you pull them back up
Mhm.
again? So you got the family. You know what? I'm going to be honest. I'm going to tell all the News Rocky fans. I was a huge Bush when we went through 9/11. I felt like George W. was the guy I wanted to hear. He was a voice
Me
at the time.
too.
When he climbed up on that car and we hear you, they're going to hear us. I felt
Mm.
inspired and I believed in it, right? And I'm going to tell you, the more you learn, the more you read, the more you educate. I guess the older you get, you start to realize I got bamboozled. I got bamboozled by a Republican control party politics. Even though I'm a Republican, I got to say the truth. The truth is we have some bad actors even in our own party. And I have to say that I think that might be one of the worst people that have served in our presidency.
The Asia
Do
Society.
you know what they did to
was
the Middle
brought in
East
by
as a
the
payback?
Bush.
I mean, they lost lives of our own military
Mhm.
to pay back the unfinished business of his father.
Well, that the daddy's business is, that's one way to put it. But there's other reasons they were there. You have, the industrial military complex that is a lot of money for, Dick Cheney. And there were reasons to be there that included large sums of money. And unfortunately, during the Obama administration, so many Muslims lost their lives. That's Syrians. Oh, what happened in
Well, wait,
Syria?
wait.
Horrible.
So-
horrible what happened in
All right,
Syria.
we're gonna jump off
Horrible.
the Trump trials and bringing it back here. But you
Mhm.
just mentioned during President Obama's previous administration, it is fact that there was lots of war involvement. There was a lot of you know what? I give Obama.
And look at what Trump is doing now with the Middle East peace.
And we're going to get to that, but what I do want, let's give
Unbelievable.
Barack Obama one thing. He did take Saddam Hussein down. He did. No matter what, he got to give him not Saddam, excuse me, Osama bin Laden. I apologize for the misquote there, but Osama bin Laden was under his watch. Give him credit for what he did, and I think that is one thing I definitely look back on that administration and give him credit for. The SEAL team went in, did their job.
Yeah, he
and-
liked to use his drone too on American
What do you mean by
citizens.
that? What do you mean by that?
I believe if you look, Obama drone hit American citizen. I don't know how many, but there are some issues there, and also our surveillance issue, the 5G issue,
Mhm.
have to do a
Came
show
out of
on
the
that.
Patriot Act, right?
Have to do
Came out of the Patriot Act.
all of that surveillance stuff has to stop. It is the tracing, and that leads into COVID as well.
And you think that's all
The
combined?
5G and the COVID. They will
Okay.
lock down the Chinese right now. The CDC. That's why the connection with COVID, and they want us to implement their style of communist lockdown, but they have
Speaking-
to train us to do that.
Speaking of communists, we're going to get right into 2020. One of the other big stories of 2020 was Kim Jong-un. His death rumors that he actually let's see here, North Korean supreme leader, and I guess that's a self-title. I don't know what's much supreme about him. Fueled speculation that he was either gravely ill or had already died after he was missing events for ceremonies and I guess his grandfather's passing and all these other events. But then mysteriously, he reemerged about 20 days later and looks like the same guy. There's still speculation that they think that that might not be the real him.
You
There's
think
a
he has like a vinyl,
twin.
like a
Yeah, the
vinyl?
guy zips it up and he gets inside the
What do they
suit.
make those heads out of?
The rubber,
Yeah, rubber?
Yeah. I mean those masks.
Latex?
Yeah,
Is it latex?
He's full of condoms.
That's what they use for Vice President Biden.
What do you mean? That's
It's
not really
not
Biden?
really him.
Who is it? Who's in that
I'm
suit?
kidding.
Who's in that suit?
I'm just kidding. It's about you peel it off. Peel
So,
it by.
what do you think of North Korea? Do you think-
Superman's under there.
What do you think of North Korea and their? Are they nothing, or should there be a concern about North Korea?
Well, China.
Do you think
China
Trump handled
controls North Korea, so I don't really think North Korea is an issue. We have to take care through space. What I really like that Trump did. This is another thing in 2020 was his space force.
We mentioned that yesterday.
Yeah,
Yes, we did.
it's really important. I really particularly believe, for example, in Nashville, what just happened the other day.
We'll get into that in a moment because
Very
that speaks
important.
to back on. We're going to finish up with the
Because
COVID stuff.
there
Mental
are
health.
videos that are attached to that, and Space Force is critical. I believe that China's not done with us; that they will attack us.
Well, what about North
don't-
Korea? Let's stay on North Korea.
I'm not worried about
North Korea doesn't matter to you, and let's see.
China's the beast
Yep.
that is the problem.
Okay, and you have no concerns with Kim. Kim's okay to you.
Kim is always controlled by China, so whatever Kim does, China is telling him what he can and cannot do.
We were talking just a few moments ago, guys, and if you're paying attention right here to News Rocky, the show comes to you Monday through Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. Make sure you tune in. Guys, if you're up there, some more comments. I need some more comments from you. I also need you to share the show, right? We need to share. Multipliers of 10. Remember what I told you each and every day. We need to multiply by 10 to make sure we spread the word. We were talking about the Trump hearings, the issue of that he's ultimately charged, right, or at least brought on trial for, was the Ukraine combination. And as we know, this year, what happened this year? Something significant happened. The very individual that President Trump and the memoir, or at least the letters and the memoirs of that going on, has slowly come out a little bit. Do you have any comments about what those transcripts are saying with the conversation between the Ukraine president and Donald Trump during that call that has been speculated?
I read them at the time. It didn't bother me at all.
And to you,
They were great conversations.
do you think that was
Like Trump said, they were great conversations.
But did he break any laws?
No, none.
Any legal scholars out there that it could say that there was a law broken during the
I'm
president?
not a legal scholar.
Yep.
But he didn't break any laws. He basically had every right to talk to anyone he wanted to talk to.
We did hear that it was. I mean, so a lot of the news we're hearing from the national corporate media that's covered this. I mean, we played a clip yesterday from Nancy Pelosi, who was back in 2019, that was on with the New Yorker magazine, and she was actually quoting then that Trump was coming after his opponent. This is prior to Biden even getting the nod, right? So this whole thing was already there. If you can, maybe even if we can play that again, if you have it, but we definitely covered that. And it's kind of intriguing to me, Lori, because you get a chance to see how corrupt and planned this has been. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, but I am seeing things in front of my eyes that are telling me there's things happening out there for purposes.
I am just, I really think that we have to focus across the country on your terra firma. What's underneath your feet right now is so important because we're focused on Trump, and he's asked patriots to be in Washington, D.C. on January 6th.
You going?
I will be in Hartford, Connecticut on January 6th.
Okay. You're not going to do what your president asked you to do?
I will be there I'd love to be there, but I cannot be there.
Okay.
Are you going to Washington, D.C.?
Maybe if I can get the Helms Media Group to pull the budget, Yvonne, if we can get that money in the budget, dude, we're heading to DC, all right? January 6th, we're going.
I thought you were going to go to Hartford.
Well, I'll blow you off for that.
No,
if I'm
you
going to
can't,
DC,
you can't,
Helms Media
can't.
Group's paying for it. I'm going on the trip, man.
Don't pay
It's all-
for it. Pay for Hartford.
It's all
A
good.
heated tent. How do you get a heated tent?
We'll get to that later.
Oh,
over here again.
man.
Over here.
We were so cold at the demonstration, the
I know
protest.
you guys were cold.
It
but
was freezing.
I didn't stay the whole time. We'll get to that demonstration in a minute.
Yeah.
Keeping on the 2020 recap with Lori Hopkins Cavanagh, our good friend, Lori on Liberty. Is that correct?
Yes, that's
And
correct.
where else can people find you out there?
I'm on WDRC right now, but email me, Gmail, LoriOnLiberty@gmail.com.
Okay.
And I'm working on a
Organizer.
show. I'm working on a show again,
Organizer.
Connecticut edition.
You're an organizer.
I'm an activist. I would say I'm an activist.
Okay.
I would like to activate people to stand up for their rights.
You see,
That's
we're being
what
watched in South Carolina there. Big shout out
Yeah.
from Mike. Thanks, buddy. Spread the word. Please share on all the social media platforms in South Carolina.
Still a free state.
Yeah, still a free state. Actually went
To
down
a
there.
point.
I went down there and we actually were surprised that it was almost discouraged to wear a mask in Myrtle Beach. When we were
Well, it's
there.
because it's unhealthy, especially
Yeah.
for children
Yeah. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
and sick people.
Okay.
Mm.
Let's see. Let's talk about something else I think that was big in 2020. Something that's big not only in 2020, I think it's going to be even bigger in 2021, is the Epstein and Maxwell case. Obviously, clearly, Epstein committed suicide, as they have told us. Interesting enough, his cellmate, his last cellmate that lived with Epstein, just came in yesterday, actually just died of COVID. Actually, so very interesting. His cellmate, they might even have information. We can't talk to him either. This is a case that I think is going to overwhelm 2021. What do you think about that whole case and sort of some of the people and the names surrounding it?
I think that there's people in powerful places that know how to make folks disappear, and they do it quite well. And I think that the sex trafficking is a major concern. I think Connecticut is huge into that, and across the country, it's horrible. That is a story that is really coming across the border.
Mhm.
It's a major issue in our country, major issue.
Well, I'm glad.
Even tourism trafficking,
Right.
not good.
Okay. Tourism trafficking. What do you mean?
Going down to the Dominican Republic
from
and
here?
yeah.
Yeah, pretty dangerous times for, when you look at this Epstein case and you sort of delve into the information, this thing goes back, and I don't know if we got into this too much, but it goes back to Trump, into the Bush family, with Jeb Bush being the governor of Florida when the original charges came in, and then I look and I fast forward, Lori, and then I hear, let's see,
Interesting.
well, not just her, but then I hear
Trump was not friends with him at all.
Senator McCain's wife is obviously Senator McCain's passed
yeah.
away, had on an interview was said, it was well known that Epstein Island, what was going on there. She said this is part of the elite corruption in our government and the Hollywood's elite. This was said many years ago. Do you think there's more that's going to come out about not just politicians and big names? Where do you think it's going to go in 2021?
I think WikiLeaks and Julian Assange is number one on my list of what should come out. There was a dump recently with Clinton emails. I hope that Trump declassifies classified information so that we can get to understand the swamp better.
He cannot pardon him because he has not been charged as of yet, right? He's pending charges. He cannot
I'm not
pardon
sure.
him.
I don't know.
I don't believe he can. I'm looking into this because the question of clemency and pardon obviously recently came up with some of the things with Kushner and his father and all the stuff. A lot of criticism from Chris Christie calling Kushner a real bad person. Of course, Chris Christie then was the prosecutor. Very interesting conversation. Trump did pardon the father. But when you look at the entire connection to these cases, it's very intriguing. I mean, this thing has a really, the names are very familiar as you talk more and more about all the parties involved. I think it's going to get ugly in 2021. And honestly, with the declassifying of these files, when you think about WikiLeaks, what it could expose about the Clintons. I mean, every day now, guys, by the way, we every day are probably getting through some sort of source. I get a message through Facebook. WikiLeaks just released all this information. Well, that's just been a bunch of fake news.
Well, Julian Assange is
his wife is running the show.
Yeah, and he has kids, and it's really sad that he has over 10 years been, basically protecting himself against, and he didn't do anything wrong. But you saw with Project Veritas, they released a video with the recording of Julian Assange reporting to the FBI
Mhm.
that someone in his organization had taken the emails and that he was concerned about security.
Mhm.
Julian Assange did not do anything wrong, and he should not be in the situation he's in.
So let me just, so I'm not saying that Julian,
And I'd like to know who killed Seth Rich. That's important to me
okay,
as
but
well.
anybody out there that knows anything about Seth Rich, please let us know here on the News Rocky Show. Staying on track with sort of the Maxwell Epstein and Maxwell itself. As I said in 2021, I think it's going to be a big story. Depends on who can control it. What do you think about Snowden? Do you think Snowden could possibly get a pardon here within the next few weeks? Do you think a pardon or possibly, I know there's a difference, but there seems to be information out there being floated from a lot of different sides that possibly President Trump is considering offering a deal to him.
I don't think that's
Clemency, actually.
that would be fine. He has the right to do that. I don't know how many he's pardoned up to date.
Can we actually run them? Yeah.
Maybe it's but Obama was a couple hundred,
Mhm.
maybe 200 or 300 people. And there's been up to 1,000 people pardoned. So I'm not sure. I was saying, I hope Trump pardons all Republicans.
Only Republicans, not Democrats?
No, pardons all Republicans from being persecuted by the new,
Administration.
totalitarian communists.
So you want to write a check before it happens.
I want to get
Yeah.
an out of jail
All
free
right.
card.
Well, I think
It's
that
monopoly.
yeah,
Yeah, it is all monopoly.
I gotta tell you that I love America. I love our country. I love our country. I mean, I won't give up on our country. That's why I think we do what we do, right? We can't. But I do think, as you see here, let's see, it looks 29 people Trump pardoned, let's see, or gave.
Yeah, from the beginning, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I don't know if
have to
this is
get
recent.
because he's done a few lately.
He has, and he's been trickling them out. I think honestly, we're talking about Snowden. I'm going to tell you. I mean, everything that I will admit, I probably viewed more than I actually read on it.
Mhm.
But I did listen to him, and especially on the Joe Rogan show, which I'm not going to lie. I love the Joe Rogan show here. I know Joe Rogan, you're watching News Rocky, so we appreciate your love. But I definitely thought that when I saw that interview, the two that I was able to view, I was convinced that this individual, first of all, probably the most brilliant, right?
Brilliant.
And probably has the keys to a lot of more things. And I think that's why he's still alive, because I think there's some things they need to know personally. I almost think I sense that in Russia, he
Interesting.
feels safe. I think in Russia, he feels safe. He can move about. I think it's more of his name is seeking to be cleared. Versus actually his, really coming back or whatever. They have denied him an ability to make money. His book, obviously, and everything he wrote was all, sort of swept away. But, I look at Snowden as an opportunity. Now, some want to say there's a lot of more examples where previous presidents have pardoned some people who have done some bad things.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
we ourselves had President Obama pardon some questionable military personnel that had done some very dangerous things. But what's funny about that? President Obama had a chance to pardon a Navy officer right here out of Groton.
Right. Yeah.
And this individual had a camera on them. And wrong, yes, admittedly, his mother has been out in the campaign. I think you know the mom, or you've dealt with her a little bit. What do you think of that story in comparison to how he was snubbed and then Obama goes out and pardons Chelsea, Hanley, whatever her name is. I want to call her Hanley, but
He went to jail for a year.
Yeah. This guy. Tell the story a little bit.
I don't have it in.
Okay.
I don't have all the details.
so-
I just know that he it was thrown. It was recovered, the
Right.
phone.
Right.
And there was
From
a
a dump.
divorce. There was a divorce situation
right.
or something not so great
Right.
personally.
Yep.
And it got turned over.
Well, I will say this to you that Snowden is a very intelligent man, Tange. The case we're talking about, we are going to get into this in 2021. We are trying to reach out and get them on the show. Not just when I say them, his mom, because she was campaigning really in a lot of ways.
What's his name?
We'll look it up.
I'll remember it.
But I do find this whole story and the way that different presidents handle different things speaks to me like who's trying to hide what. Because if you allow one, this information could get out there, that information. This is what I want to say to people who are anti-Trump. Donald Trump has basically opened the floodgates up for everything and everyone. Doesn't deny information. In fact, if anything, that guy couldn't keep a secret for 5 seconds. We know that. It's in his mind. He's going to say it. This is why when people accuse him of all the corruption, I find it to be really, guys, are you watching or looking at Washington, D.C.? Look at the TV today if you have to watch it visually, if you can't read about it, and find out exactly what's going on. The games are going on between Republican senators and Democratic senators. By the way, all theater. Behind the curtain, these guys all knew what was going on. Do you agree, Lori?
I am disgusted with Washington, D.C.
Right. All of them.
And the COVID relief bill, whatever they call it.
Trimshaw is the only guy I like
Is
right now. Trimshaw is the only guy I
just-
like. You know what I'm talking
Well,
about?
I like Rand Paul.
He's been there long enough. He's cutting deals too. You know that. Lindsey Graham, every one of them are cutting deals each and every time they go to a vote. You know that. It doesn't
Well-
work any other way.
You're right.
I'm sorry. That's why this president has hit a stone wall because he said no cutting deals. Guys, go figure it out.
Now,
Look at how the Republicans are turning on him,
supposedly
Lori.
he'll be able to manipulate the paying of these funds so that it is not, and he's done this before. When he first became president,
Yep.
and he started looking at the NATO.
Right.
Remember all the work he did on
100%.
NATO?
I'm saying.
Tons. He started. Well, why are we giving so much money? But
He
you're
left
not
everything
giving
but
money?
the UN. He left almost everything, right?
Well, he withdrew from a lot of the UN.
I understand, but we still
So
kept the
the-
presence. My point is that he did withdraw and remove the United States by
Not from NATO, but
No.
he lowered our
investment.
costs
Yeah, right.
and
right,
raised a lot of
The
money
French
for
Accord.
NATO.
You can go down the list of all the things foreign policy wise. This is maybe again, guys, maybe
Amazing.
when you're not thinking about this for a moment, you don't
Amazing.
know. We read off some of the accomplishments yesterday. We must have read off 20, 30 things that the Trump administration was able to pull off. Look, I will say it all the time. He's not a bedside manner guy. He's not a friendly guy. Because I grew up, and maybe some of you out there, the listeners of News Rocky, maybe Lori as well. We grew up in a time when your bosses were not your friends. They were your bosses. And it was okay because we didn't have to rub your back and give you a lollipop and let you go home early and pay you more money because that's the world we came from. And you know what? That hard work pays off. We're now in a world, Lori, where you have to just cater to the masses. And let me talk about the masses. This summer, we had something that took place in this country that has now really driven a really big divide. We thought we had it. We thought we saw it. We thought we were dealing with it coming off of, the 8 years of Obama. And I will say for a fact that Barack Obama was attacked viciously. All can admit that happened to this president. Didn't like his policies. Didn't appreciate his standard.
wait a second. Nobody's been more attacked racially than Trump.
You really think so?
Oh my God, Orange Man. I mean, that's like calling. That's horrible.
Say it.
That's just
Speak your
horrible. No, I think that Obama. We elected a
No, you
black
gotta admit, though,
president.
you
No,
gotta
I don't
admit he was-
agree. Nah.
Okay.
Even though George Bush said he was going to,
Right.
on tape, George Herbert Walker Bush,
Mm-hmm.
not the
H.
son.
I got you. Yeah.
Herbert Walker said global communism would prevail, and that's
All right, I think we're back here. I apologize for that drop. It's interesting how technology works, guys, but I'll tell you this. There's some speculation right here that the federal government possibly is plotting to shut down the News Rocky show because we brought Lori Hopkins Cavanagh. I'm joking. Do not. I pick on Twiggy and Baby Arms. Do you know what I'm talking about? I've come up with a brilliant, and if you steal this from me, and it's
No, I
on
don't
Liberty,
steal.
I'm going to tell you, I'll get the litigation lawyer going. But we're working on it right here in this studio. The News Rocky show wants to bring a concept this year in 2021. Twiggy and Baby Arms go to Washington, D.C. Yes, based on our two favorite senators. Did you see them getting their vaccine shots? They had the little baby arms. They looked like little, like toothpick arms. They were little babies, and they had little baby, and they stuck the needle. Like the needle literally was wider than the arms on these guys. So I came up with Twiggy and Baby Arms, and it's going to be like a cartoon. So we'll do like a 1 to 3 minute clip each day where they're kind of going through the motion. Now, the best part about these two guys, Lori, is how their lips get so wet. They get wet-lipped to get in front of a microphone to fight each other to see who can get the best soundbite. I'm talking about Twiggy and Baby Arms, Murphy and Blumenthal.
He's so thin. He's
are you
like
gonna
a
watch the show?
skeleton. He's a walking skeleton.
Do you support that concept?
Sure.
And you maybe I'll use you as a contributor then, okay?
I'm in so much trouble right now. But go ahead. With I've been so critical of Murphy. I actually had to unfriend him on Facebook because I couldn't stand being on his Facebook page any longer.
I love it because every day it gives me
couldn't do
something to
it.
get angry about.
I don't need
get
to spend the time.
I know
It's a
every-
waste of time.
It's just some, but you know
You're
what?
doing it on purpose, just to make us upset.
It's for sports sometimes, I guess too, right? So
No, you know what I like about it? All
What's
my
that?
friends are there doing the same thing.
All right, so we're back. We have about 5 minutes or so before we end the show. This is how fast it goes, Lori. Maybe we'll go an extra 5 minutes over just to kind of make up the time, and that's good with the crew here running the show. Again, we are at the Pie Hop Studio right here in downtown Norwich, coming to you live, and something happened utility-wise. We dropped the signal for a second. This is how it works in real-world technology. So we need the Helms Media Group and all the rest of those folks to invest in a generator and a backup system. I don't know how much it costs, the millions of dollars or whatever, but we need it. If we're going to have somebody like Lori Hopkins Cavanagh in this studio, you better have the goddamn technology. Make sure we do an interview. Sorry.
Don't want to lose a word.
All right. Thank you. So 2020 was the craziest year. Let me ask you a few personal questions. What was your favorite Netflix series?
My favorite Netflix series.
Yeah.
I've been watching. I watch Riviera. My favorite series. I like British shows.
Wait, are you
I
talking
love British shows.
Tiger King?
No, Doc Martin.
You didn't like Tiger King?
I didn't watch Tiger
You didn't
King.
watch Tiger King?
No.
It was the
Doc Martin. Have you seen Doc Martin?
No,
I
no.
binged Doc Martin every second I could.
Really, I haven't. I will admit, we got addicted to Tiger King. It was a
now I
train
have
wreck.
to watch it.
You wait a minute, Yvonne. You watched it, right? Everyone watched Tiger. Everyone in the world has watched
I'm
Tiger
so
King.
sorry. I was watching.
Guys,
Doc
who watched
Martin.
Tiger King out there? We have Lori Hopkins Cavanagh. She's supposed to be a news person. She's supposed to know all current events. She don't even know about Tiger King.
I'm not a pop current
You're a
events
pop
type-
culture?
No, not
Okay.
pop culture.
All right. So
That is not
what's your
well.
favorite dinner? If you were to go out to dinner right now, what's Lori Hopkins Cavanagh want for dinner? It's got to be red meat, right? It's got to be raw red meat. You just want to
No,
chop
my
at
favorite would be black bass over
like a sea bass.
A sea bass. Yeah, sea bass.
You're getting hungry because we're above Pie Hop Studio.
You can't find sea bass anywhere.
Oh, they
I
have it
love sea
downstairs.
bass. We have to go to China to get it.
They have black sea bass here.
Oh, I'm gonna have it tonight.
Oh, I don't know if they do.
No,
I
they
might be
don't.
telling you fake news. But
They
so
have great fries here.
what's your favorite let's see, sports team?
My favorite. Well, I'm not a real sports fan at all.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to find. I don't like the politics going on in sports.
Do you have
at
a team?
all.
So you're not sports at all?
Well, I was a Patriots fan.
No longer.
No longer.
The knee, taking the knee.
All of this has turned me off to sports so much. I think everyone should turn it off.
Let's tie back because we were
Especially since only some people get to play and
Yeah.
other people don't get to play. For
Listen,
example, in Norwich,
Yep.
our minor league
Yep.
baseball They can't play.
Right. They can't play baseball. Those are professional young people trying to come up through the system. We have Carol Baskins killed her husband. Wake, whacked him. Yes, he did. Yeah, that's true. And once you see this Tiger King, you're going to know exactly. Have you ever been called Carol Baskin? Have you been called a Carol?
No.
If you get called a Carol, you know what it means.
Okay. No, I have no idea.
You're being called Carol Baskin. So if you get called Carol, it is not a compliment.
Okay. Danielle. Oh,
Yeah, so
nice to meet you, Danielle.
George,
Very sweet of you.
you know what? I want to get into the George Floyd issue and this whole thing that took place. And that's not a laughing matter, because not only did we have this whole thing that took place that was real, George Floyd was really, what that police officer did was the worst. I've handcuffed people. I have controlled people. One of the first priorities that, and I just want to speak, your first priority is to make sure your whoever's in custody is safely in custody. And there's some things to be said there. Was there more circumstances? Listen, the trials are coming soon. There's going to be a lot more evidence. You're seeing one set of videos versus other snapshots. I'm not in any way defending the officer. I think the officer, I've seen in the eyes of bad partners, and I'm telling you, Lori, that I believe that guy was not a good cop. And I'm sorry, I back the blue, and I got to say it like it is, but I just don't think many cops agree or disagree with me. I think many cops are like, you know what? Bad example. Look what the law enforcement people, 281 were killed as of last week. I think it was the number 281 officers in this country this year alone. That's up by like 70 plus officers. If I remember the numbers from last week's Back to Blue conversation, that's incredible numbers. This energy has been brewing in this country way before Donald Trump. Donald Trump's blamed for racism. I mean, I read article after article, and you talk about fake news, guys. The articles that you're getting fed are so specific to a party, political party movement, a national movement. It's not, and I'm talking about both sides, Lori, Republican and Democrat, whatever side you want to get on. How, just in a few words, the impact of George Floyd, this whole scenario with Black Lives Matters. What do you think 2020 is going to be going into 2021 from that?
Well, I think that he was murdered, and I think it was premeditated. My opinion is, and the facts that I've looked at, he had a relationship with the cop. And that's a big problem, because if there were a pre-existing relationship that the media completely ignores, then there might have been more to this story than, cop just is a racist.
Mm-hmm.
My understanding is the two gentlemen worked together.
Mm-hmm.
My understanding is they worked in a bar, a nightclub. Not
Right.
all good things happen.
So you've
in
heard the
nightclubs.
stories about this possibly. There was previous issues.
My understanding is that George Floyd was a porn. He participated in porn videos, and that there were prostitutes involved.
He was a
and-
porn star?
Yes. And did you see his video?
No, I can't say I mean,
Okay, well,
is
he
there a
was
video
porn-
we can pull up
yeah.
of George Floyd, the porn star? No, I don't think we can find
Yeah.
the video.
Oh, you can.
Is it in the deep state dark or no? Is it out there?
It's pretty readily out there.
Okay.
Um,
I'm not even joking. First, I've heard
but
breaking
he
news.
was not a
News Rocky.
well,
Wait a minute,
here's
Lori.
the deal. He was not an angel. The guy was just a.
But you're telling me
guy.
this is common knowledge that George Floyd was a porn star.
I think. Well, you can look it up. He's
Okay, I
got a
just want to ask. 'Cause
video.
I'm like, all right, and I'm not laughing. George Floyd isn't with us, but just the fact that you're tying him into a porn star is
No, the guy who was okay. I might not have the right person. Then maybe I
All
am
right, 'cause let's be
mistaken
clear.
completely. This is a gentleman whose knee, the cop's knee, was placed on his throat while the other cops waited
Yeah.
until he died.
George Floyd.
I have the right person. I'm not mistaken.
All right. We're gonna look into that News Rocky.
So
What
I
do you
gotta
th-
bring. You gotta give me just give me these stuff. You know what? Where can I send you
Yeah.
the clips before we go? You send me the information.
Yep.
I'll send you a clip.
All right, then that's what we're gonna do. And we'll
Because you're not gonna show porn though.
Yeah.
That would be. Do you want to
Yeah.
see porn?
Yeah, well, I mean, who knows what people want to see?
Danielle, do you want to see porn?
All right, so, all right, so we're gonna Whoa, is this is George Floyd's porn shot?
I'm sorry. I'm just telling you.
Are you really
guys.
telling me that's George Floyd?
Absolutely. And you know what? His there's so much behind him. People don't know him.
I am
the-
shattered here
I
that
don't
George
care that
Floyd
he-
was a porn star.
I don't care that he was a porn star. It doesn't bother me that he was a porn
You
star.
brought it up.
He doesn't just no. I brought it up because we don't know the connection between the cop
Mhm.
and crime
Mhm.
that the cop might have been involved with,
Sure.
along with him. and that this was premeditated murder.
Mhm.
And I don't know if that's true or not, but like you said,
Yep.
very correctly, we have to wait till all the evidence.
Right. Wait
comes
till all
out.
the evidence comes out. But my point about that is it inspired this energy across our country that I would say has been brewing for years. There's been a real issue with the conversation of race. Listen, I worked in the prison system for 21 years. Race is real. We all know racial issues are real. They're out there. I do think, though, and I have said it many, many times, and I'll stand by this comment, that the national corporate media took advantage of a moment during a time during COVID, during lockdown, to really accentuate the differences here in political movements. And this really has to do with the election. I think that there was a lot more energy given. And I challenge you this. If anyone out there who, listen, is thinking I'm like bashing Black Lives Matters, I'm not. Think about it, folks. When Black men and women were killed savagely in some ways back over the last 10 or 15 years, you never heard about it like you did over this last summer. Ask yourself why that is. There's a reason why.
It's all funded. Black Lives Matter has a lot of money.
It happened. It's real. We have racial issues. But do you
No,
agree?
no.
Do you agree media pushed it?
I agree that the United Nations is behind this, and Black Lives Matter is a global communist movement and an arm of the DNC, along with Antifa, and a militant movement. And this is the fight is they're very much a part. Look at when the officer killed Brown.
Yep.
Hands up, don't shoot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't remember his first name.
Michael Brown?
Michael Brown.
Yep, Michael Brown and Ferguson.
Okay. And before that, the incident before that in Florida.
In Florida. You can go all the way back to New York and 41 shots with Bruce Springsteen. There's many examples of police shootings that have been questionable.
They went to the United Nations, to the Islamist Human Rights Council to say, save us from America. We're not a racist country. If I go to any Middle Eastern country, I am treated horribly for the most part.
You got to put that thing on your head there.
I'm not talking about the people of those countries.
What do
I'm
you
talking
call
about
that?
by the government.
What do they wear?
Hijab, I don't know. Whatever
The
you're
thing
talking, it depends on where you go.
It's different in different
Yeah, it
countries.
depends on where you're going. But those used to be Christian countries.
Yeah.
And all the tolerance and love. Well, what happened to it? All the Christians fled.
Do we need
because
more
they were being
Christians?
Killed. That's happening here in our
Do
country.
we need more
now.
Christians? Do you think that the fact of the
Do
attack?
we need more? That's not a. That's a really strange question.
All right. Well, let me ask you this:
The world always.
do you think Christians
needs-
are under attack in this country? In
Absolutely,
this world?
100%.
You're saying
by
that
Black
Christians.
Lives Matter, actually.
So you're saying that Christians are under attack by Black Lives Matters.
Yeah, you have the people who are involved with Black Lives Matter need to understand the Christopher Columbus. Why would Black people want to attack a stupid statue? Why?
So you think that statue?
Why?
Yeah.
It's the Christ bearer. It's Christianity. So it's not about Black people. Black Lives Matter isn't about Black people, because if people really cared, they'd be caring about the genocide that's happening, the slavery that's happening right now in Libya, for example, where Black men are being sold, and Black people are sold, and they're Christians too, that are being persecuted across this world. And China, how can our politicians be doing business when China, they're not just persecuting Christians, they're persecuting Muslims, they're persecuting all religious faiths. And now in our country, our communist dictatorship that runs our country has to get rid of, you get rid of Christianity, you get rid of the Bible, you get rid of the basis for our country, our foundations. That's what it's about. And Black Lives Matter plays a role in all that.
Constitution's next.
Oh, well, I don't even know if the Constitution, I'm going to find out, for example, through this lawsuit, this injunction, whether I have inalienable rights or not. I have to know if I have a Constitution, and where is our ability to have recourse in this state, in Connecticut. And where, we don't have county government. If you go down to Virginia, they do the governor of Virginia, for example, he wants everyone disarmed. He's going to start seizing weapons. We're a step away from that. You know, Blumenthal and Murphy want to do that.
Twiggy and Baby Arms.
Twiggy
Twiggy and Baby Arms.
They
Yep.
would like to do that.
They're doing all that. So listen, we are winding down here. We're a little bit over an hour. We had that little bit of a break. I do want to say, Lori, we started this project in 2020. We're not long into it, News Rocky. You certainly are a guest that's going to continue to be invited here. I know you're working, you have your own project, and it is Lori on Liberty.
Lori on Liberty show. Yeah.
And so Lori on Liberty, it can be seen each week where?
I don't have it running. That's what we're doing. The
Okay.
plan was to get it started.
So
I was on air and censored because of what I talked about, but I'm on WDRC
right.
once a week, Wednesdays at 7:10.
So you want to do your own show? You're out there really to the networks. You're pitching right now to networks. There's a network out there because I know a lot of them are watching us.
I'm trying to right now.
Look into the camera. Give me your
I'm trying
interview.
to right now be more of an activist than necessarily a personality.
So you're happy being an activist. So maybe being an activist associated with News Rocky, we could partner and we make this happen. You could be the on the street reporter. We get you one of those really big things.
No, you're the better reporter than me.
Oh, I think you're pretty good.
No,
Lori.
you know why? Because you're warm and approachable, and I tend to really piss people off.
Do you think you have a little bit of a bitchy to you? Is that what you're saying?
No, I've never been a.
Has anyone said?
biatch.
Has anyone called you a Karen? Remember what I said that meant?
No. So what does it mean?
It means you're a bitch.
Oh no, I'm not a bitch.
If they call you a Karen and you're in the store,
No.
they're calling you a bitch. That's what they're saying. Used to be
Yeah.
I think
Is that
Nancy.
the
It used to be Nancy. You remember everyone used to call you
Yeah,
Nancy at
Nancy.
rallies, right?
No,
No, it's just
never been called Rocky. That's it.
That's it,
That's
Rocky.
the only name I've ever
the
been
Rocky.
called.
I love it.
Let
So
me hear what he said.
awesome having you here. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for all the
Thank
News
you.
Rocky folks listening. You know, tomorrow's show, guys, pay attention. We're going to post it up tonight. We are actually going to, it looks like we'll have a state representative. Once we confirm the names, we'll post it out there. And we will have a nurse out of a New Jersey hospital that has reached out to the News Rocky show. We're going to have that nurse come on. She's certainly supporting all the reaction from the federal government, state government regards to COVID and the treatment and the vaccination process. We're going to put these two folks together. Definitely the state representative we will have will not be in support of vaccination, period. Ann Dauphiné, I'll throw it out there. That's who we're talking to. So we'll have a really interesting conversation. It's going to be respectful. Ann's she's a complete lady. Unlike Lori. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm teasing with you, I swear. So anyways, but thank you for tuning in to News Rocky, guys. We had a great show today. Sorry for a little bit of the interference there. Lori, are you going to come back to News Rocky in 2021?
I will, and
You
I hope
promise?
you'll be on my show as
I'm-
the man on the street.
So we
the
have
man.
well, it has to go. You have to negotiate that through the powers to be to get us to do that. Hey, give a big shout out to our backup here, the guy making it happen, Devon over there, slaying it all day long, just like he used to slay it when he's fishing. You know, I actually heard he's one of the best fishermen around. So any of you punks that are watching right now that think you're the best fisherman in town, I actually got him on my team. News Rocky. See you tomorrow, 4 p.m.
So if you don't know what a Niantic base